when I first realized that I am here on earth for one simple reason only, through this body-mind called Burt, to understand, to realize who I am. That's quite a step to actually see that. When you see that, things begin to change. You don't change them, you don't do anything. That very realization, because the being in you becomes alive, you see? It is subjective. Everything that you think you are experiencing is your mind interpreting it, judging it, making up its mind about it. And everybody's idea differs, you see? But what is actually taking place, when you see clearly, is another matter altogether. You see? Okay, are there any questions before we close off?
When you talked about examples of people identifying so fully with singing and with dance, and that nothing is expressed but being, I wonder then kind of what seems like kind of the opposite of that, when sometimes, you know, if a human is identifying so fully with something that's like a negative emotion, like rage or sorrow, and they completely lose themselves in that.
Right.
That's not really, it seems like that's the...
No, you're saying something so beautiful here. Because when you lose yourself in insanity, you're still losing yourself. But what happens, and this is the only difference, is, okay, see, when you suffer fear, you're all fear, from head to foot. You're nothing but fear. When you are love, you're nothing but love. Okay? But they can meet into that oneness. Now, when there is fear, what has happened is that you become all ego. And that is the difference. You see? So there is that protection of that. My God, what's going to happen to me? So there is that separation. Whereas when you lose yourself in something that you love, you lose yourself as a limited energy, as a limited form. You lose yourself in it and you become one with it. When you suffer a great fear, a great terror, okay, it's the same thing. But there is still that sense of, it's going to happen to me, it's happening to me. See, there is still that sense, still that self-image is still there. If, however, and this is a very good point, and I'd like you to feel it here, if, however, the fear becomes so overwhelming that you forget yourself, that you forget the separation, then you experience euphoria. Now, I've had people who told me they were drowning. 2 or 3 people have actually said that, and they felt bliss as they went under. You know, and there are many experiences when you get into a car accident, and all of a sudden you see everything slowing down. It's as if it's unreal. Did you ever experience something like this? It becomes unreal, and everything slows down, because at that moment there isn't self-protection. It's happening so fast that it overrides the interpretation of the mind, you see, and all of a sudden everything slows down. The moment you become aware of me is under distress, you go into shock. Okay? So this is the dynamic that has to be understood, what actually happens. But at the moment it is happening, there is detachment. Yeah. The terror only comes when the mind interferes and says, this is happening to me. Oh my God. You see, the moment that then goes into shock, then goes into terror, into that. But at that moment, when something happens very fast and takes you by surprise, it's a whole new dynamic takes over. So your question not only is valid, but it's wonderful. Yes. So the point is, when you lose yourself into something totally, no matter what it is, okay, you forget yourself. In that forgetting, there is that oneness, there is being. You see? And there is all the silence and all the wisdom present. And it doesn't matter whether you are, for example, many people were terminally ill. And as we know, they go through 5 stages until the final stage, total acceptance. The moment they accept their impending doom. They're not impending doom because nothing happens, but they're seeing that their body is going to leave soon. Okay, they come to the point of total acceptance. There's actual joy, and this has been experienced.
So the sadness or fear, it doesn't really matter because that's not really real anyway.
Very good.
So it's really just forgetting that, or
Yeah, not forgetting. Ask what is deeper than this.
Yeah, coming to something else, I guess.
Yes.
And
What is
reality
deeper?
of it
That's
all.
right. And when you go deep, it always takes you to reality, always, because it takes you to its source, and the source is always is. You see, and that isness is what we strive for all the time. You see, when we hold someone that we love in our arms and we make love at that moment, and you love them so much, at that moment there's only one of you. You see, we all want that moment where you forget yourself. And that moment we're all striving for all the time. Why do you think people have skydivers and they go through a free fall? You see, you know what a free fall is? Because at that moment there's no ego. You see, at that moment you're falling and there's no personal thing or anything. You're on the edge. You're meeting your own death, so to speak, willingly, but you know you're not going to die because you have confidence you're going to open the parachute. But while you're falling, there's just now, nothing but now. You see? And the people who have experienced it, they say, nothing has felt as alive as when I was falling through space. See, living on the edge. Yeah.